this Monday, demonstrators in Chicago are planning to protest in just a few hours. They say newly released body cam footage of a deadly police shooting does not tell the whole story. Police shot and killed 37-year-old Harith Augustus Saturday, believing he was carrying a gun. The incident sparked immediate and violent protests. Police released a portion of the body cam video. You can take a look. You can see Augustus standing on the right side of your screen as officers approach him. This is the video I'm talking about here. They talk to him, but there's no audio, so we can't hear what they're saying. You see one officer to try to grab him, and Augustus pushes her away. The video pauses. There it is, and you see what appears to be a gun tucked inside his waistband. He starts running. A little later, rolls over the hood of a police car and appears to reach for something before the officer opens fire. The police chief says the video speaks for itself, but today activists are demanding more footage, saying that video is not enough, saying they don't trust the police investigation into what happened. Cheryl Dorsey joins me. She, is a retired LAPD police sergeant. She's had a chance to view all of this. And first and foremost, we know a man lost his life this weekend, and I know there's going to be a lot of grief and emotion surrounding that loss of life. And then, of course, the demand for answers. You worked on a police force for many years. You've seen the body cam footage. What do you see, Cheryl?
So listen, first of all, let me say that I'm sorry that there was a loss of life. Any loss of life is tragic. But listen, deadly force, the use of deadly force is what we do as police officers. It's inherent to our work. And so if you, as a citizen, know that you're armed, then you have an affirmative responsibility to do everything that the officers are requesting of you. You are to comply. I say it all the time, comply, complain with the treatment that you receive later. The object of the game is to live through that police encounter. And so if you understand that you're armed, you have a responsibility to do certain things. I'm armed. When the police stop me, I go out of my way to make sure that they understand that I'm armed and ask them, what do you want me to do? Because as a police uniformed officer and supervisor, if I give you direction, if I give you instruction, I see a gun and I don't know what you're going to do with it, I'm not waiting. I'm going to use deadly force. It's an unfortunate consequence.
They approached him, we understand, because they thought he might have a gun. That standard operating procedure?
Well, listen, sometimes it's very obvious when someone is wearing a weapon around their waist. We see bulges. We're taught and trained to look for those kinds of things because in our encounters, we want to be safe as police officers. And so if I see something that's alarming, if I see something that looks like it could be used to hurt me, then I have the right to make this encounter safe. And so if I'm seeing something that causes me concern and I'm giving you direction, pulling away from me, spinning, turning, running is really not the smartest thing to do in that moment.
We've been hearing from protesters that they're not trusting the police investigation that is happening and will continue in the coming days and weeks. They say they don't trust the police to investigate themselves. We've heard this before. We've heard this from communities who feel that there's a breakdown between the communities and law enforcement, and we know that's going on in Chicago. So what needs to happen here, Cheryl?
Well, they need to let the police department do their job, and I get that, there's some distrust on both sides of the equation. But again, if you don't want this kind of an outcome, when you're confronted by police officers, follow their direction. A lot of times, these activists, there's not a shooting that they can get behind. There's no use of deadly force that's justified in their belief. There's some times when deadly force is justifiable. Now, I'm not saying that is the exact justification in this case because I don't have all of the facts. But what I'm saying is let the process work itself out. And it looks to me preliminarily like there is some culpability on the part of this young man because he was doing things that would have caused me great concern.
Do you think additional footage, video angles will tell a more complete story?
Well, obviously, there's a complete story to be heard. Will that satisfy everybody? No. There's going to be a certain contingency that no matter what they see and or hear, they're going to find fault with, well, the police should have did this, the police should have did that. You know, we're trained to do certain things, and you don't get to predict how I respond when you violate my safe space. When you do something that puts me in a reasonably perceived threat, you don't get to tell me how to respond to that. And if you have a gun and I see it, I get to respond the way that I'm trained to. And sometimes it ends in death.
Cheryl Dorsey, former LAPD, thank you so much for joining me via Skype today. We're going to watch as this investigation continues and see what comes out of this. Thanks so much.